Hello all. In this session, we will see CRUD operations using ADO.NET. In our previous sessions in ADO.NET series, we have already seen what is ADO.NET, then system.data namespace and system.data.sql client namespace, right? So these both namespaces are some classes which we have already seen in our previous sessions. In this session, we will create some console applications and using that console application, we will do some CRUD operations. So CRUD operations means we will do insert, update, then select operations using ADO.NET and using SQL Server. Okay, so let's start with that. So I am creating one Visual Studio console application. Okay, here you have to go to file and then say new project. And here you have to select Visual C# and then select console application.NET framework. I'm giving some meaningful name to our project. Okay, so the name is given CRUDOperation underscore ADO.NET. Okay, then click on OK button. Okay, once you like take this project, you will see such kind of interface. And in Solution Explorer, you will see this project added here. The solution name and the project name is same. So I'm just renaming this name to some other name. Okay. So first operation which we have to do, that operation is like get all employee data using select command from the database and print on the console application. So I would say get all data. Okay. And here we have that program.cs file. Inside that file, we have to write code which will get all data from the database and then it will select the data and it will print on the console application. Okay. Okay. So to do that, we should have a table created in the database, and that table should have some data stored in the table. Okay. So let me open the SQL server. So from here, you can open SQL server. You have to type SSMS and you will find this icon. Just open this, click on connect button. Here are the database list. Okay. For this CRUD operation, I am creating new database. Okay. So I have already some ready code here. So what we will do, we will step by step use this code and we will perform the operation. So first thing I am doing, which is in the database. So I'm creating a database. Okay. So let's go to SQL server, take a new query and put this query here, create database name. So this will create a database, execute this. Let's refresh our databases. So here you will find this database, right? After this, what we have to do, okay, so after creating a database, we have to create a table inside that database. Okay, so here is the table script. Okay, let's go to Visual Studio SQL Server. Okay, so once the database is created, you have to simply write this query, create table, the table name, and these are some number of columns inside the table name. Okay. Okay, so I think I don't want this some tables columns. Okay, so I'm removing them. Okay, so here I have taken a table name employee demo. Okay, inside that we have employee ID, employee name, gender, and is active column. Okay, so let's create this table, and we have to create this table inside CRUDDB database, right? So from here we have to select that database CRUDDB. Okay, and click on execute button. Okay, So this table is created. If you fire select command on that table, you will find this table structure here, right? So there is no data right now inside this table, so that's why it is not showing any record. Okay. Okay, after creating this table, what we have to do, we have to insert some record inside this table. Before that, we will check whether this table is actually created or not. So you can see that here it is created, right? So I have that query ready as well, which will use to insert record into the table. So I'm putting this query here. So actually, these are some number of column. Actually, we have just deleted. Okay. So what we will do, we will remove this from here as well. Okay. And we have to delete its values as well from here. Okay, so we have this employee ID, employee name, gender, and age active column. And here we are entering this employee ID. Okay. Then employee name, the gender and its this is active value. One means true and zero means false, correct? Okay, let's execute this query. Okay, it is showing more columns are there in the query, right? So let me correct this first. Okay, so let's insert this record. Okay, so number of records are inserted here. If you are not able to write this query, you can simply go to this table, right click and edit this. Okay. You can simply insert this record from here as well by manually entering and by putting values and uh, putting tabs. Okay, so this is how you can insert values here in this table. Okay, so the table is created, values also inserted, right? Now the next step is what? You have to write a C# code which will get all the data from the database, correct? And it will print it on the console. So let's do that. So I have this code as well, ready code. Okay, to get the all data, we should have some procedure created in the database. So let's create one procedure. Okay, let's come to database. So here I'm creating this procedure, create procedure, that procedure name. Okay, so basically this procedure will select all the detail, right? All the data. Okay, so procedure is created. You can find this procedure inside this programmability inside a stored procedure section. Okay, so you can simply execute this procedure and you can see that it is returning all the data from the database. So the same procedure we have to call from the C# code. So let's add a C# code. I have this ready code which will select all the data, correct? And I have added this code inside our static void main, right? So you can see that it start from here and ends here, right? So inside that I have added this code. Okay, it is showing some error, and the reason is what we have to add this namespaces. So let's come here and add these namespaces. So first namespace is using system.data, correct, and the other one is using system.data.sql client. Okay, now you can see that all error has gone, right? Okay, so I will what I will do, I will debug this code. I will explain you how it works, and then we will see the output, right? So let's put a debugger here. Let's run the project. Okay, so first part is connection part. So we have already seen what is connection means, string, how it works. Okay, what is the pattern which we have to follow, right? So here we have to make sure we have to put a correct server name. So the server name must be the server name which is given here, right? If it is not there, then you can click on the drop down, go to browse for more, and then find here, right? Inside database engine section, you will find it inside local servers. Okay, you will find it here. You have to take this name, copy this name, then come here and you have to put it here, right? So put this database name, sorry, server name here, then take a database name from the database. So copy this name as it is, correct, and put it here. And after that, so initial catalog is your database name, then the data source is your server name, SQL server name, and integrated security is true, means you are using. I will show you what. So it is mean that it is authentication option. Okay. So true means you are using Windows authentication, and false means you are using SQL Server authentication. So for now we are using Windows authentication. Okay, so this is how the connection string works. Okay, this is our SQL connection class. Okay, so it is used to create a connection uh, with the database system. Okay, and it will use that SQL connection string, right? Okay, the next step is what? SQL command, and SQL command has these two parameter. First one is procedure name, and another one is connection object, right? So that connection object is having SQL connection. Okay, and it will connect to the database server, and it will write this query or this procedure at database. Okay, after that, here we have to mention whether we are using query or we are using stored procedure. So here we are using stored procedure. That's why I have used command type dot stored procedure, right? Okay, the next is SQL data adapter class. So this class is used to execute this command at server side, the command which is written by this SQL command. Okay, so here we will execute this command da.select command equal to cmd. Okay, so the command is executed and the data came inside that da means data adapter object, but this is not in readable format. So what we will do, we will create a dataset object here. So this is our dataset object, and we will fill this data adapter data into the dataset. So it has a data adapter has a fill method. It will fill data adapter value or the result which came from the database into the dataset. Okay, so here you can see that before like filling the data, you can see that there is no data inside data set, correct? If you ever like see here, you will not find any data. But once the fill method get called, you will find some data has come from the database, right? Now it is there. Okay, so as we know, data set is a collection of tables, right? But we want only single table. So what I will do, what I have done here, actually here we are taking the specific table from that dataset collection. So it has a table array, and at the zero index we have this table. So we have got this table inside this data table object. Okay, okay, we got it here, and here we are just printing this data to the console using console.writeLine. So here we are passing uh, that is the object of data table. Okay, and rows is the array, two-dimensional array. So first dimension is row index and other one is column name. Okay. So here we are passing row index and here we are passing column name. So this is how it is printing data to the console. You can see that the data is getting printed here, right? Okay. Okay. So let's finish the application. So this is how we can print data from the database. Okay. Now, second operation is what? I have to do the another operation, that is get data by ID. Okay. Get data by ID. So what I will do, I will pass some ID and I should get only data for that given ID. Okay. So again, I have taken this console application.NET framework application. Okay, let's add that, set it as a startup project. I have uh, also like ready code for this task as well. So before creating a .NET code, we will create a procedure which will help us to get the data from the database. Okay. So this is our procedure code. You can simply write this code, create procedure, then procedure name. Then you have to define an input parameter, that is emp id, which is integer. Okay. And inside that we have written this query, select star from employee demo, where employee id equal to @employee id. Let's create this. Okay, so procedure is created. You can verify by refreshing this stored procedure section that is created here, right? You can execute this procedure at database level as well. You can simply try it. So here the procedure has this parameter. So simply you can write a parameter after the procedure name and select this whole code and execute it. Okay, you can see that the parameter which we are passing, uh, we are getting the data for that specific parameter. So here I have passed employee ID as 1. Okay, let's pass 2. Then I'm getting this second record, right? 3, then I will get it for third employee detail. Okay, let's call this procedure in the ADO.NET C# application. Okay, I have this code also ready. Let's copy it from here and put this inside this static void main method. Again, we have to add here this namespaces, SQL client and SQL data. Okay. Okay. So again, you can see the same code which we like used for our previous operation. Only the one thing added here, this statement, right? So again, the connection string should be the same which is used here, correct? So I'm copying this connection string here. Okay, the rest of the things already there, right? Okay. So here we have created connection class and we have passed this connection object. Here we have passed procedure name, which is just created, right? Which is just created by here, right? You have to make sure the procedure name must be the same, which is created in the database, right? After that, I have defined one variable here. I am assigning the value 1 to that variable. Okay. So this is our procedure, right? That procedure is having one parameter to pass values to the parameter. We have this code, the object name, then parameters, means cmd.parameters.add with value. First parameter is the procedure parameter name. It must match with this parameter name. Okay. Make sure it must match and it has to be given in the double quote. Okay. And the other parameter is the value which you have to pass to that parameter. Okay. So here I am passing employee ID, which is 1, right? And the rest of the code is as it is, the means code which we created for all data. Okay. The rest of the whole code is same. Okay. Let's run the code and see it. Okay. We will also debug this code as well. So the rest of the code, as I said, it is same. Only the thing what we have added here, this parameter value, right? Okay. So here you can see that we got only that specific record. Okay, this specific employee data, right? And we have just iterated this record here, and the output is on the screen, right? Correct. If you change the value to 2 or any other value, you will find this other employees data. Okay. Okay, this second employee data, right? You can also take this value from user. So you simply, what you have to do, you have to write some code here, console dot write line, and say message enter employee ID here. And after that, what you have to do, instead of hard coding the value, you have to simply get it from the console. Okay, so this, the syntax of getting it from the console is what? Console dot read line. So it will help us to get the value from the console screen. And that value which comes from the console, it always comes in the string format. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to convert this value into the integer value. Okay, integer type. Okay, so let's convert it into the integer. Convert dot to int 32. Okay, so let's run the code. So here what will happen, the rest of the steps will be same. Only what will happen is we have added this message here, right? Enter employee ID here. And after that, it will ask employee ID from the console, because we have added this code, which will ask employee ID from the console. So here you have to enter value and you have to hit on the enter button. Okay, once you hit it, you will find this ID which we just entered from the console. You will find it in the variable. Okay, so this is how you can get it from the console, right? Got it. Let's try this in one shot. So it is asking for employee ID, so you can put 2 and you can see that it is showing data for second employee. The same thing if you will do for means third employee, you will find third employee data. Okay, so this is how you can do that. Okay, okay, so after this, we will add one more project, and we will do the save operation. Okay, let's add a project. Save employee data. Okay, I have added one, I'm adding one project, save employee data. So in this project, what we will do, we will save data to the database inside that employee master table. Okay, so let's create a procedure which will save data in the database. Okay, so this is a procedure, create a procedure name. Okay, it has these two parameter, employee name and gender. Okay, so as we know that column, that table has these three column, employee name, gender and is active. Okay, but I am adding values for only two columns. Okay, you can also values for these three columns. Okay, simply what you have to do, you have to uh, you have to add column here. Okay, and you have to pass a value. So I'm adding one more column here, is active, and the data type is bit, right? Okay, and inside query as well, you have to mention this column which you have to enter value. Here also you have to pass a column which is defined here. Okay, and let's create a procedure. So this is insert procedure. Okay, you can insert record using this procedure. Let's try this at database side only. So it has these three values, right? Okay, these three input parameter. So let's say Mrunal, first name is employee name is Mrunal, then gender is male. Okay, then third parameter is what is active, right? So we can pass 1 or 0 value here and then execute the procedure. The procedure name is this, right? This is the procedure name actually. This is something else. Okay, let's execute this. Okay, so we got one raw affected message here. So let's check whether recording updated or not. Okay, so record has updated or inserted here. It is inserted actually. Okay. Okay, the same thing we will do by using ADO.NET code. So we have this code ready here. Simply we have to copy this. Okay, and I'm putting it here. You have to type this code actually, right? Okay, I'm copying this too because to reduce the video size or video time. Okay, but make sure you have to type this code by seeing this video. Okay, again as I said, we have to have a like same connection string which we used for previous projects. Okay, here we have to make sure we have to pass a exact procedure name which is we have created here in the database, right? Okay, third thing is what we have a number of parameter employee name, gender, and is active. So make sure we have to pass a correct parameter from here. Okay, the third parameter is what is active. So you have to pass a correct name inside double quote, and that value is what it is a bit value. So you have to pass 0 or 1 value here. Okay, okay. So the rest of code is same as it is, means we have used for previous project. Okay, so let's debug the code and see. Okay, let's execute the code. So here it will find procedure name. Then we have given the type. Then we have passed these parameters. Employee name as a Ramesh, gender as a male, and is active as a 1, means true. Okay. So after that, what will happen? That data adapter will execute this command at database side. Okay, and it will fill this value into the dataset. Okay, so you can see that we got nothing in the dataset. And the reason is why? Because we have not means returned anything from this procedure. We are actually only inserting records into the database. Okay, we are not returning anything from this procedure. Okay, so that's why we got nothing in the dataset, but that procedure executed and it has entered or inserted record into the database. So let's see if it is actually inserted or not. Okay, so here you can see that this Ramesh record which we have like passed from this code is inserted into the database, right? Okay. Okay, so this is how you can insert record using ADO.NET code. You can also like request this data from the console window, the way we did it in our previous code, this way, right? The same way we will use here. We will request this from the console. So first parameter is employee name. Okay. So let's say employee name. Then employee name is a string parameter, right? So we will say employee emp name. Okay, it is a string parameter. As I said, this console.readline method returns string, so we do not need to convert this into the any data type, right? Simply we have to use only console.readline, right? The same thing we will do for our gender, right? Employee gender. And here I will say emp gender, right? And the last one is what? Boolean value, right? That is true or false. So enter employee status active or inactive. true or false, right? But we want this status in the Boolean format. So what we will do here, we will use convert to Boolean. Okay. Okay. So this is how you have to use Boolean variable here. So this is how you can get it from the console. And instead of hard coding this value, you can like simply pass these parameters, right? The first parameter was employee name, right? So you have to pass it here. Then emp gender, do it here, and employee status here. Okay. So let's run this code again. So first it will ask for employee name. So I'm entering Kumar, then hit a enter button. So the second thing it will ask gender. So it is male, right? Hit enter. Then third thing is what? Status. So it is true, means active, right? Then we will pass this to, we have passed this values to these parameters, right? Procedure parameter. Then it will execute the command and it will fill the data. So it has successfully executed this data command, okay, to the server. So let's check it here whether this record is inserted or not. Okay, so I think it is inserted, right? Correct. So this is how you can do that. Okay. So simply you can write one message here, record inserted successfully, right? Okay. And the last operation which we have to do, it is update operation. Okay. So let's add a project for update operation. Console app update employee, right? Data. Okay. So save and update code is same, only the difference is inside a, which is inside a query. Okay. The all code is same for save and update operation. Only the query which is written, it is different, right? In case of save operation, we are writing query which will insert the data. So we are using insert command, right? But in case of update, we are using update command. So let's add these namespaces here. Okay, this is done. Only the thing what we have to do, we have to add a update command here. So let's take a update command and create it. Okay, let's go to SQL Server. Okay, so here I have created update command. So it is having employee ID, employee name, gender, this parameter as an input parameter, right? Let's take this parameter as well as a bit. And here you have to use is active equal to add that is active. Okay, and then create a procedure. So here we have taken employee ID as an input parameter, which will find that specific record. Okay, so we will find record by employee ID and then we will update these three details against this employee ID. So we have used this update command. Okay, in case of insert, we are using insert command, right? Okay, so what we have to do, we have to use this procedure. It is already created. We have to use this procedure here. Okay, in the update code, correct? Here we have to use this procedure. Okay, and one more thing we want here, we want employee ID. correct? So what we will do, we will just simply take an employee ID. So let's take this code. This is the code, right? But what we will do, we will take it from our that this other code. Okay, we want this code only. Let's put it here inside the update code. So what we will do, we will add this code here. Okay, first parameter we are requesting from the console is employee ID, then employee name, then gender and employee status. So one more code I have to write here, which will take the employee ID from the C# code and it will pass it to the procedure. Okay, inside the procedure, we have this column employee ID. Okay, we have to use it here as an input parameter. Okay, so this is how we can write a code to update the data. Okay, so this is the whole code. Okay, you can use it. Let's add a debugger here and we will test it. So set it as a startup project. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to update the data which is having employee ID 1. So let's find what is the data for employee ID 1. So it is a Gaurav. So we will change its gender. Okay, so let's flip to JStudio. Okay, so let's run the project. So it will ask for employee ID. So it is 1, right? Then it will ask for name. So you can change name as well, but this time I want the same name. So I have entered the same name, Gaurav. Okay. The third thing is what? It's gender, which we have to update. Now it is female, so where I have to update male, right? And the third thing is what? Is status. So let's say true. So it is active status. So as I said, the gender is female. I have to make it male. The value which we got from the console, we captured into that variable. Okay, you can see that. And I have passed this to the this command object. Now here it has executed this command to the server, and here it has filled the data. Now the data has come to the means updated to the server, right? SQL server, and we wrote this message on the console. So here we have to write like record updated successfully. Okay, if you go to server, you will find this record has updated, right? Now it is a male. So its gender updated. You can update any value except employee ID. Here just update the code, updated, right? Okay, so this is how you can do the CRUD operation using ADO.NET. Okay, so I will show you the whole code from the start. So first code was get all data. So this is the code which we have written for all data. Okay, then the second code was get by ID. So this is the whole code which we have used, get by ID data. Then third one is save data. Okay, I will show that as well. Okay, so this is the code for save data, right? And the last one is update data. Okay, so this is the code for update data. Okay, if you come to database, in database, initially we created a DB, then we created this table. Okay, after that we inserted this record inside the database. Okay, then we created this procedure to get all data. The procedure name is get emp data. Okay, this procedure we created to get data by employee ID. Then to save the data we created this procedure, right? This one, save employee data. To update the data we created this procedure, update employee data. Okay, okay, so this is all means we understood in this session. So this is how we can do the CRUD operation using ADO.NET Core. Okay, so we are done with the radio.net.